to r/entitled parents, where entitled people grow up and have children. Our first post is by BulkyWish6728, entitled Mother's Friend's Story. Let's get this party started. So, about 3 years ago, one of my mom's tenants moved in with us after she was evicted from her home. And she decided to live with us. My mom and I have a strained relationship. This will be important much later for specific reasons. But anyways, at first it was okay, and it wasn't until she became closer than ever with my mom that things took a turn for the worse. Keep in mind, she's only a tenant and not family at all. But I digress. My mother would tell her things that were not things she should share with others beside us or a family friend. Since it involved me and only me, it's one of the reasons why I'm not close with her, and despite my dad not being in the picture, he understands wholeheartedly about how my mom can get. She would tell her about my mental health. I'm much more older than I was before, and I'm comfortable talking about it on here. And it may not seem like a big deal, but even if my mom and I don't have a strong relationship, she did understand our boundaries. But this friend was absolute trash. One day, I was having one of my mental breakdowns in my room. I tend to isolate, and my sister understands as always. She's the best. And it sometimes happens, and it was before my dosage was bumped. And I told my little brother to leave the room, and he did, but entitled effer thought otherwise. I honestly don't know if that's the actual name, but screw it. This entitled effer it's entitled friend. Whatever, effer sounds better. Only speaks Spanish, so I'll be translating it.
You shouldn't kick your brother out. He's a little kid.
I'm sorry, but I need my space.
Your mom told me everything. Don't you think you're being a little overdramatic?
In my family, mental health isn't taken that seriously, but they are aware that I need my space as well. But this B word doesn't get the hit, but she leaves regardless, and later that day she told my mom what happened. But I explained to my mom what I've been going through, but the entitled effer won't back down. She said I was being spoiled and that there was nothing wrong with me. She even suggested I go off my meds. Keep in mind I have MDD and PTSD from childhood trauma. They are a necessity. I also get nightmares every night. My mom, of course, said no to her, and I thought she would leave it at that. But then it got worse when we got a dog. My mom decided to get it as my medications only did so much, and she thought it would help me mentally. The entitled effer would complain about the dog tripping her. She was fine. He was a baby pupper, barely the size of my arm. But a few months later, my brother and I argued, and she stepped in saying I was an attention seeker. Keep in mind, I was mentally done at this point and always felt attacked. My brother, angry at the time, agreed with her, and that broke me. I isolated myself and didn't tell anyone anything. I became fully numb to the point where I shut down my emotions and stayed that way. A few months later, my dog, who had gotten hit by a car a few months prior, don't worry, he's okay, he's still with us, had gone out because someone, you guess who, left the door open after I specifically told her to close the door, and he went to the street. In the heat of the moment, I ran past her and ran into the street. And luckily, the person driving had stopped before he saw my dog run across the street. And I got a hold of my dog, but a few minutes later, I had a panic attack with him still in my arms.
Stop exaggerating. He's fine.
Me thinking, you're lucky he is. Somehow the tables turned and I got in trouble for it, despite it being her who left the door open. I had to apologize. What? Edit. Also, yesterday, my mom was talking about me being in cheer and how she needs to pay off the rest of my uniform.
Well, don't give her any more.
I'm underage. I'm 16. And even though I'm supposed to have a job, my mom won't allow me until this October, which is when I turn 17. And even if I wanted to, I need consent from my school and my mom. Why your school? I would ask my dad for consent, but he's out of the picture, so I'm not sure how that would go, which she sure as heck won't sign my birthday hit. So my only option is to ask money from my mom. Besides that, I fundraise with events in my school. I always volunteer. It's very rarely that I ask for money besides the fundraising. I also ask my dad, which he gladly always does. My dad's the best. So I interrupt the entitled F word. As much as I want to earn my money, I can't get a job without my mom's consent. I always fundraise, including working the fireworks stand where you bought fireworks from. I always save what I can, and I never ask for anything for this specific reason, and it's not like it's any of your business. Her response shocked me.
Well, it's not like your brain works anyway.
Me and her don't interact as much anymore lately, luckily. But I'll update you if I have another run-in with her. And yes, she still lives with us despite what she does. Although my mom raised her rent. Sigh. Sweet karma. Can you please, yes, this person is entitled, but how is she an entitled parent? Um, Maybe you went to the wrong subreddit, or did I go to the wrong subreddit? Hold on, let me check. Yeah, it's entitled parents. How's this entitled parents? I, okay, you know what? But still. Seriously, don't abuse a dog. That's very bad. This Karen is a very bad person. Also, I know EF is entitled friend, but entitled F word sounds way better and more suiting. It's by Prince Panda 134. Entitled mother wants a key to my apartment. What the hell? To my apartment. Hello everyone, this is my first time posting here, and unfortunately, the EM in today's story is my actual mom. Some context before we begin. My mother was incredibly abusive to me growing up, not just physically, but also mentally and emotionally. So much that my therapist believes she's the reason I have DID and is behind most of my depression. Also, I'm getting a cat when I come home from my trip in August. This will come back in a stupid way. So this happened a week ago. I currently am planning a trip to see my dad and my best friend. I'll be gone for a week. When my mom found out about this trip, she started asking me normal questions like,
How long are you going?
or
Are you staying with your dad?
she also asks why I'm going to see my dad. Now, this may seem odd at first, but I understand why she asked this, because my dad didn't tell me about my grandfather's funeral, which yes, I am still mad about, but I understand why it happened. He lost his father shortly after he got remarried, and with the way the world is happening right now, he wasn't sure I was able to make it. Now, I haven't fully forgiven him, but my dad owned up to his mistake, apologized, and is taking me to see my grandpa's grave and giving me the family sword which he got from my grandfather. So all of that I can understand. But then she started questioning my best friend, asking if we were dating or if I was interested in dating her, stuff like that. Normally this would be a problem, but everything my mom did to me and her refusal to even acknowledge any of it. I didn't even want to answer the questions about my love life, so I told her, I'm sorry, but I'm not comfortable with talking to you about that stuff since we aren't that close. We talked for a few minutes before she left, and I thought nothing of it. But when I looked on Facebook, she posted about how I was so mean to her and couldn't have a normal conversation with my mother. My sisters all started asking me about what happened, and I told them. They all said the same thing.
Well, I understand, but she's your mom and she loves you. You should just tell her.
All but one who always has my back. My sister offered to take me to the airport so I didn't have to get an Uber or deal with my mom. Again, my mom found out my sister was taking me. My mom was upset about this and asking why I didn't ask her to take me. I told her my sister offered because I was paid back for watching her dog earlier that month, which is true but not the whole truth. To which my mother demanded I give her a key to my apartment while I'm gone so she can clean it. I told her that that was not going to happen and my apartment did not need to be cleaned. She started yelling about how
I'm your mother. I deserve a key to your apartment.
now normally when I deal with her, I try to keep calm, but I just worked a 12-hour shift at work and was tired and wanted to take a shower. So I told her in a slightly aggressive tone, No, you don't deserve a key to my apartment. You don't pay my rent or my bills. You didn't co-sign the lease, my father did. If anyone deserves a key to my place, it's him. She got quiet for a minute and said,
Well, if you don't give me a key, you can't get a cat.
I just started laughing at her after this. She asked,
What's so funny?
I told her, Ma, you don't control me at all. I live alone, and second off, I'm already getting a cat when I'm getting home. And on top of that, you're allergic to cats. How are you gonna stop me? She starts screaming about how I can't get a cat, blah, blah, blah. So, I'm done at this point, so I just say, I'm done with this. I'm going upstairs to my apartment, I'm going on my trip, and I'll be getting a cat when I come back. There's nothing you can do or say to change that, and in fact, if you keep doing this, you'll no longer be welcome in my life. She gets quiet, and after a minute she goes,
Fine, but we'll be talking about this when you get home.
whatever, Mom. I go upstairs and go to bed. I haven't heard her say anything since then. Oh, by the way, yes, there is something romantic between me and my best friend. We're actually going on a date when I get there, and we're talking about moving in together, so wish me luck. Ooh, good luck, OP. Jeez. So your mother abused you and thinks she's still a good parent. Okay, then. I have no words. I don't even know how to describe a Karen like that. Our next post is by Marley Joanna. Entitled Parents Starve Toddler for Phone. I work in a big-name wireless carrier and I have plenty of entitled people stories, but this one was just horrible to watch. This was just a few months ago. A family of 5 walk in, so I go and greet them to help them. There was a grandma with her son in his mid-20s, girlfriend or wife, and their 2 small children. So, we have grandma, entitled mother, entitled father, and small child uno and dos. The purpose of their visit was to upgrade the grandma's iPhone 8. Well, she didn't speak English and I did not know her language, and all my coworkers who did were busy. So I communicated with entitled mother and entitled father, but I also tried my best to use Google Translate to talk with grandma. The actual whole account was under the grandma's name. The 2 parents were on her account. For those who don't know, if you're under someone's wireless account, your actions fall on them. If a phone that you finance go unpaid, the collections go to the account holder. They technically own your phone number, even if you pay for it, so all responsibilities fall on them. Depending on the account holder's credit, you can put 0 downs on so many phones. Most accounts have a limit of like 5K financing. Anyways, I go over the options with grandma to finance a new iPhone 12, even a trade-in deal to make it cheaper for her. But we had one problem. The bill was in delinquency and the system will not let us finance out new devices if it is. So an entitled mother and father get involved. They asked why their bill is so high, so we go over the PDF with them, and 80% of the bill was from entitled mother and entitled father. They both had Samsung S10 Plus financed out with insurance, and both had 3 plus accessories: case, screen protector, speaker, and wireless earbuds, etc. So that was an easy extra $200 a month for the couple stuff. They talked to grandma, she pulled out her credit card and forced her to pay the delinquent bill. Oh wait, entitled mother spots the new, at the time, Galaxy Note 12 Ultra, the $1,300 phone. $1,450 after taxes and fees. Suddenly they forgot grandma's upgrade and started talking to me about financing an option for this phone for both parents. I reminded them that their S20 Plus are still being paid off, so if they upgraded to a new Note, they'd be paying over an extra $100 a month for 2. Also, because their financing limit will be reached, grandma will have to wait a long time to finance a phone for her on her own account. Grandma, entitled mother, and father all have a conversation between themselves for a few minutes, and I give them some privacy to talk. Entitled mother and father approach me saying they're not upgrading grandma's today, but they both want the Note 20 Ultra today. I get my coworker who speaks their language to talk to grandma to confirm that she's okay with this, and she was so I go over the cost of financing them. Again, reminding them the phones they cost last year was not paid off yet, so they can expect a huge bill increase. Poor grandma. They didn't care and I proceed. I bring the phones out and start to ring them up, but because the financing credit was pretty much maxed out at this point, one phone will need a $300 down payment plus take today. So total will be $450. They said, hey, can you give us a minute? So I do. Entitled mother called Kid 1's soccer club and canceled her classes for the next month to help cover this. What? Makes calls to some other family members at this point. I give them some privacy. Then they signal me over for a question, so I stick around. I overhear entitled mother to entitled father saying for the remaining 200 bucks they need, they can simply
skip the kids' breakfast for a week or two and then make plain pasta for dinner every night for the next few weeks.
Oh my gosh. Entitled father agrees and says the kids are fine eating plain pasta every day for a few weeks. At this point, they take a notebook from Grandma and ask for a few more moments. They start writing down a bunch of numbers down. I try not to overhear, but they say how they're going to cut back on the kids' juice and snacks for a while. I tell them that I can hold the phone for them if they want to do it next weekend. They decline, saying they really want them now. And at this point, my managers get involved and has me bring everything else. And it's said all done and done. Unrelated, but entitled father then starts telling me all the kids' bowel movement regularities. Then they leave the stores, and I just feel so bad for those two toddlers and Grandma. Edit: yes, I did try to stop the sale. After I did, they complained to my manager about me saying it was none of their business. In my state, you can get sued for that, so my manager said I had to. Edit 2: yes, I still have their account and phone numbers, which I'll tip CPS to. That's something management cannot stop me from doing. Smiley face. Too long didn't read. Entitled parents plan to starve their two kids for a few weeks so they can afford a down payment on a phone they don't need. How many times? Oh my god. Seriously, you you literally can't even. You shouldn't do that. It's not morally correct. It's not ethically correct. But seriously, even it may be correct legally, but still, you can't starve your children just because you want a phone. You already have a phone, and plus, oh, I just feel so bad for the toddlers, for those kids, and the grandma. Jeez. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching this video. Tell me what you thought about those crazy parents in the last story. Please like and subscribe, and peace out.